Morning grade 10s, you have now did that exercise to see the effects of the a, the coefficient of your x squared. Now let's have a look. A can't be 0. It's not allowed to be 0 because if the a there is a 0, then that means it's a 0. There's no graph, it's just a straight line. So a is not allowed to be 0. If your a value is 1, that means the coefficient there of your x squared is a 1. That means we call that the mother graph. That's the basic one. Further on in that exercise, you recognized or come to a conclusion that if a is greater than 0, the shape will be like that. And this shape is called then a minimum value, or we say concave up. Look at the arrows there. Can you see the arrows is indicating upwards? So we say then that's concave up. And that is the lowest point there, so it's a minimum. And when will the shape be like that? If the a value, it's positive number there. So if the number in front there, the coefficient of your x squared is a positive, the shape will look like that. Easy to remember there. If you're positive, right, you will be happy. So we got a smiley face if you're positive and you've got minimum problems. So that you must remember for a there. If a is greater than 0, we've got the shape, the minimum shape, or the concave up shape. That means the arrow showing upwards. And we say we've got a minimum, that means the lowest value. So that's your smiley face. If your a is greater than 1, remember if it's 1, it's the mother graph. What will happen to your graph? It goes narrow. It goes to the inside. Now this is your mother graph. If a is equal to 1, it's the mother graph. But if the a value is 2, what's happened to the arms there? Can you see it's narrower? If a is equal to 3, it goes more to the inside, so it goes more narrow. Okay, so that's your effect of a. Then we can also get that the a will be greater than 0, less than 1. It's still positive, but now it's a proper fraction. So once again, this is my mother graph. Mother graph coefficient is a 1. If that's a value, it's a half. That means if I got half x squared, so that means the graph will be wider than your mother graph. It will be to the outside. If I've got a is equal to a quarter, then it's still going flatter, can still going wider. Okay. If the a is equal to -1, what will happen? You'll see it will be reflected about the x-axis. We also say that's the mirror image. What will happen? You'll see the x-coordinate stays the same and the y-coordinate will get a negative. You always go back to the mother graph and then you see what happens. So this is your mother graph. Can you see that coordinate is 1, 1, that one is -1. This is my x-axis, in this case the mirror image. So what will happen to that? Can you see your x value stays the same, so that's 1, but what's happened to the y? It getting a negative there, so it's +1, -1. What will happen to that one there? Your x stays the same and your y value is getting a negative there, so that's also a -1 there. Can you see? And this is then reflected. When will you get a graph like that? Then you see it's a negative. If a is a negative value there. Okay, can you see now the happy face will become a sad face. So the shape is then like this. The arrow is showing down. We call that the maximum. So that's the highest point there that it's turning. Concave down. Look at the arrows showing down, so it's concave down. So you can remember this. If you're feeling negative, so if you're feeling negative, you will be sad. Can you see the sad face there? And you will have maximum problems. So that's the effect of A. Please copy this in your notebooks. Then let's have a look at the next step. Let's have a look at the next step, where we'll have another graph And now you will see the effect of C. Now sometimes that C we make a Q. Now with a straight line you know that the C is the y-intercept. But let's have a look at the Q, the C or the Q. Can you see the ax squared is still there? So it's still a parabola. Now what must you do now? Once again, to complete the table, we will say then you use your substitution method. So now we can say my fx is now x squared minus 4. So now my x value there, it's negative 2. So now I say f negative 2 equals, so substitute in brackets, minus 4. That's giving me a 0. So now you fill in a 0 there. What is my next value? My next x value, remember it's an independent variable, so your equation or your function, your graph will be like that. Always substitute into brackets your x squared, and now it's negative 1 squared minus 4. So that's negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. It's giving you a negative 3. So now you put a negative 3 there. What is the next one? I must substitute 0. So once again, you've got your equation, your function. Remember, function is for every x value, there's only one y value. Now I must say f0. Now 0 squared minus 4 is negative 4. Now from the straight line, if my x is 0, that means then you're calculating y-intercept. So that's also called then the y-intercept because my x is 0. So now I substitute it in there, and now you can do the rest there as well. So if I substitute 1 in there, 1 times 1, it's 1, minus the 4, it's negative 3. Substitute 2, 2 times 2, it's 4, minus the 4 is then 0. So now you've completed the table. If you're going to use your calculator, if you want to use that, remember to draw the table and fill in the values there. Once again, you press mode, we go to the table method, you've got your fx. So now to get the x is the alpha, and then the x, and that's my x squared. Then there's a negative 4, because your constant now it's negative 4. Equals, only want to draw 1, so you put equals again. Where will I start? In this case I start with negative 2, I end with a 2, and we're counting in ones. So that's my table, just to check. So if you're checking there, can you see your x value, it's negative 2, the y value is 0. That's the same there. The next one, x is negative 1, and then negative 3. Negative 1, negative 3. So you can just check if your values are correct. The next step you must do is now to plot the points. So now you go negative 2 first. Once again, you can use your ruler to get your x value, and then you just go up. So that means it's negative 2. That's my negative 2 there. And then the y value will be 0. Then negative 1. Negative 1 is going to negative 3. Make your dot there. And the 0 goes to negative 4. And the 1 goes to negative 3 again. And the 2 goes to 0. Now, it's not a straight line, remember. If it's a square, it's a parabola. It's or a smiley face or a sad face. Now if you look at that one there, can you see the 1 there? That was your mother graph, so it's a plus 1. So it will be a smiley face. It means it's concave, up. Arrows must going up. So let's start a little bit away from that. Don't start directly on the dot there, and you know halfway it's like that. The y-axis will be in the middle, and that's called the line of symmetry. So it will be in the middle. So this will be exactly the same as the other side. Just go a little bit past, put your arrows there, and you can write your equation next to that, x squared minus 4. So now you can complete this as well, and then we can carry on with the next lesson.